we want to make sure that everything is working together, that the in-store is supplemented by the reviews, the ratings, and the user-generated content that people see on Amazon, and that the website is converting maybe price shopping customers so that we can control the transaction and get emails. And, there's just we want to design a strategy where it all works together.
Welcome to the Pet Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Skarlet Rockwood. As a content marketer for pet professionals, I love talking with other marketers and business owners in the pet industry and sharing their marketing advice with you. So join me for the latest episode and learn how to grow your audience, increase your revenue, and impact the lives of pets and their people. Stephen Gary is the owner of 𝐿𝐼𝐒 along with his wife, Erin. He is a critical thinker, he's ambitious, and he's energetic, and he's an avid lifelong learner. He loves to see and experience new things, which is why he and Erin are always full-time traveling and working from their laptops. They thrive in constant changing environments, which is why the landscape of Amazon is perfect for them. Hi, Stephen. How are you doing today?
Hey, Skarlet, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit more about 𝐿𝐼𝐒, and actually touching on the fact that you're always traveling, tell everybody where you're coming in from today.
Yeah. I am in Madeira, Portugal, which is a small island actually off the coast of Morocco, owned by Portugal. My wife and I have been here since early June. So we've been living the island life this summer before we head back to the States and join the rest of the pet community at Super Zoo. So that's where we're calling in from today.
All right, awesome. So tell us a little bit about 𝐿𝐼𝐒. What is it all about, and what do you guys do for pet businesses?
Yeah, so 𝐿𝐼𝐒 is an Amazon marketing agency born out of a full service digital marketing agency. So my wife and I, Erin, we both had years and years of experience working in digital marketing. Our firm was doing everything. They were doing website build, social media, email marketing, marketplace marketing on Amazon and Walmart. And we just kind of looked around and we said, man, we really want to be really good at one thing. We don't want to be everything for everyone. And so we decided last year that we would kind of separate off from our current agency and start our own agency, just focus on Amazon, really focused in the pet industry, so that we could truly be the best in the biz at what we do. We kind of separated from that agency, started our own thing, and really help brands and manufacturers get their products up on Amazon, scale their businesses, help them figure out how to profit maximize, find new customers. It's really an end-to-end solution that we can offer, but we also, offer different segments if you just want advertising or just want listings optimization. So we're really flexible. We just love working with the pet industry specifically, even though, Amazon can be not fun on its own.
Yeah,
it's a good balance, pet is great and Amazon is not always great.
Yeah, I find the same thing with my content marketing. Once I niched down to pretty much only working with pet businesses, everything was a lot easier, and I enjoyed what I was doing and who I was doing it with so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard you talking about that on your past podcast with, I believe her name was Michelle, the photographer, and how, niching down really made your life a lot easier. And that really resonated with me. Everyone should go listen to that episode if they haven't.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so for most of the listeners here, maybe they've considered being on Amazon before, maybe they haven't even thought about it because it's that big scary beast that everyone likes to hate on, but a lot of us probably at least have made a purchase from Amazon as a customer. Flipping that around to the seller side, can you give us a brief overview of Amazon as a platform and how, it is valuable for marketing and sales?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for marketing and sales, the numbers speak for themselves. On a monthly basis, Amazon has 2 to 4.5 billion with a B visits per month. For exposure, for brand awareness, you really just can't beat that audience size, and just the ability to get in front of those customers who trust Amazon, who shop there every month. As a marketing and sales tool, it's just really unbeatable to get your brand out there and get that brand awareness. And truly, it's can be used to enhance all aspects of your business, including your wholesale and your direct website sales if you use it right. So, being there, having a presence, you just cannot beat the exposure that Amazon can provide.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I know a lot of people, they look at Amazon, like I said, it's this big scary beast. It's kind of the enemy because they're the big company and we want to support local small businesses. But I think a lot of people miss out on the fact that it's actually a really valuable marketing channel for those small businesses to get in front of more people, rather than like the old model where you have to sell your stuff to Amazon and then they are the company that's selling it. Can you tell me a little bit more, go into detail a little bit more about the different models that Amazon has available now?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you hit the nail on the head there. Like, I don't think people understand how Amazon works. And so glad that you're giving people a chance to understand a little bit better. But yeah, there are many different models. They really boil down to, are you going to sell your product to Amazon? Or are you going to sell your product on Amazon? And that's two different things. You referenced the old model there, selling your product to Amazon. So originally, Amazon got started as only a kind of a wholesale platform. They would buy products from vendors, from brands and manufacturers. And then they would sell those products that they owned on Amazon.com. That's considered the 1P or first party model. And people who sell in that model utilize a tool called Vendor Central to access their Amazon listings and work through purchase orders, things like that. That model is great, and that's what Amazon built its foundation on. It's right for some businesses to allow them to sell their product to Amazon and not deal with the complication of building their own listings, managing the orders, individual orders, things like that. But there's also downsides. You lose some control of pricing because you no longer own that product. Amazon owns your product. And you lose the ability to control your own destiny. Amazon owns that product now. So you can help them build the listings, you can help with advertising, but you can't run your own promotions and you can't set up your own deals. And it's not completely up to you how your brand's going to be represented on Amazon Marketplace. So you do lose a little bit of control there with that first party model. And so Amazon introduced another model not far after called their third party 3P model that allows Amazon or sellers to sell on the platform. So they still own the product and they just utilize Amazon's audience and marketplace to make sales to Amazon's customers. And we've seen a slow transition over the years from more sales being presented through first party to more and more and more sales happening through third party. So as of last year, over 60% of sales on Amazon were coming from third party sellers. A lot of them, those small brands like you were just talking about, who are using Amazon's marketplace to sell on Amazon, but have not sold their products to Amazon. So they still own the product. Amazon is just facilitating the transaction. And when they do that, sellers have the ability to create their own listings, create their own pricing, manage their own brand presence, do their own advertising, and they can still access Amazon's customer base. So it's truly just a marketing platform for them, an ability to reach new audiences. They have full control over those listings and prices, and they are responsible for shipping those individual orders to customers, unlike a wholesale relationship. So there's really those two models, the first P and the third P, and a lot of those new sellers, smaller brands, they're coming on as third-party sellers. They want that control. They want to be able to do their own brand presentation, and they want the relationship with their customers that they can't get when they sell wholesale to Amazon.
Yeah. So, what about if I want to do the third party model and have control, but I also don't want to have to do all of the shipping myself?
Yeah, another great question. So there are hybrid models. Amazon has their third-party logistics, offering called FBA or Fulfillment by Amazon. So if you're a 3P seller, you can kind of outsource parts of the responsibility of being a third-party seller. You can set up your own listings, do your own advertising, control your own price, but then send pallets of inventory out to Amazon distribution centers, and then Amazon is responsible for picking, packing, and shipping those one-off orders, and also dealing with the customer service for those. So, when you utilize FBA, you don't have to worry about shipping ones and twos. You don't have to worry about customer returns and customer service. Amazon handles all of that. So it can be a great kind of in between there, between 1P and 3P, so that you maintain your ability to focus on products and focus on shipping pallets, but don't give up the control of pricing and your listings. And there's also another kind of midway point there. Some vendors and manufacturers are going with a hybrid 1P and 3P approach, where they sell some products directly to Amazon, and then they sell some of them on Amazon. So they have both a vendor central and a seller central storefront. I do want to go on record and say here that this is against Amazon's terms of service. So you're not supposed to be doing both at the same time. Any product that you make available to Amazon 3P via Seller Central, you're supposed to also make available through Vendor Central. So generally, this is not something that we suggest, although we do see some brands and manufacturers taking that route. But which business model you use is really dependent on your business infrastructure. Are you set up to ship ones and twos? Are you set up to handle taxes? Do you want to build your own listings? And if all of those things are a yes, and you want to optimize your profit margins, then you might end up closer to that 3P model. But if any of those are no's, then you should consider using FBA or consider selling to 1P. So we like to sit down with brands and manufacturers and determine, hey, what fits your business the best? What's going to give you the highest profit margin? What's the best trajectory for growth? And each one of those is different. Each conversation is different.
So do you have a favorite that you find leaning towards more often, or that you find is better for more businesses than others?
Yeah. Again, it totally depends on the size and infrastructure of your business, but in true giant corporation fashion, Amazon shows preferential treatment to sellers that utilize more and more of their services. So, if you are selling Vendor Central, you have benefits that Seller Central sellers don't have. So if you're selling 1P, you have some advantages over 3P. And if you're using FBA, you have some advantages over fulfilling orders yourself. So somewhere in the middle of that is probably our preferred model, and where we find success with most of our brands. Using a 3P model, so a Seller Central model, so that they control their listings, control their prices, control their own destiny, but outsourcing some of the individual fulfillment of orders, individual customer service management, returns management to Amazon, so that we kind of get the best of both worlds and minimize the requirement of their business in operating on Amazon.
Yeah, so that sounds like for the average small business who has just made this really cool new product and they want to get it in front of as many people as possible, like maybe 3P is important, but FBA would be a really good way to kind of make a mix of the two. But like you said, just
Absolutely.
depends on who you are and exactly what is best for your business.
Right. There are huge advantages to using Amazon's giant infrastructure. Like, Prime eligibility is big. Lots of shoppers only shop for products that have 2-day, availability. So 2-day shipping. So if your product's not Prime eligible, then you're not going to get as much visibility as you could. I should also state that 1P is technically an invite-only platform right now. So Amazon has to reach out to you and request that you sell your products directly to them at this time. It kind of waffles. So sometimes it's open to applications, sometimes it's invite only. There are ways to kind of force an invite or get an invite, even though you haven't been technically invited. So you just need to, reach out to someone like us, a mature agency or a mature vendor seller to kind of get you in touch with the right people. But if you're just starting out as a new brand, it's going to be tough to get that vendor invitation to get started. So 3P is definitely the way to build your brand awareness, get going, take advantage of all the things that Amazon has going for it, without waiting on that invitation that may or may not come.
That's a really good point, is even if you want to do 1P, it may be important to start with 3 just to get your foot in the door and get started.
Absolutely.
So once we pick which version of that I'm a pet business, I want to be on Amazon. I've decided that I want to do 3P. What else is there to getting my account set up and getting started?
Yeah, so getting your account set up is pretty straightforward. You can go to sellercentral.amazon.com and set up a Seller Central account today. It basically requires filling out an application that clarifies who you are, what your business is, your LLC, where you're going to submit payment. Are you going to be a professional seller or an individual seller? Just a form, really. And it's not overly complicated, and generally the process is pretty quick. Over the last, I would say, 3 or 4 years in kind of our COVID and post-COVID era, that registration process has become a little bit more cumbersome. They want to verify you are who you say you are. So, generally you have to send like a picture of your driver's license, or in some cases, you may need to submit like a passport or a more authoritative government registration, just to prove who you are. Because during the COVID period, there were lots of new sellers coming onto Amazon. They saw the huge boom in e-commerce, specifically in Amazon. We had a lot of international sellers, a lot of fraudulent sellers coming onto Amazon. So they have tightened their restrictions a little bit up on registration, but typically that process is pretty straightforward. If you are a real brand, a real seller, a real person, especially if you are a United States citizen, that process is generally pretty straightforward.
Would you say the process is harder than if you live in like Canada or UK or Australia?
Absolutely. Yeah. So proving your, ability to sell on Amazon, requires validation of your personal identification. So if you don't have US personal identification, it's a little bit more difficult. The workaround that we usually give people that have that live in and have brands in Canada or Mexico is to register in their home country first. So if you're Canadian and you're running a brand, register via sellercentral.amazon.ca first. They'll request like Canadian verification, which you can provide. And then once you're in Seller Central, you can activate what's called your unified North America account. And so once you've been validated for Canada, you can open a US, Mexico, and actually they've added Brazil to the North America unified account for some reason. So you can open seller accounts in all 4 of those once you're validated for any one of them.
Okay, yeah, that's really good to know, because I know a lot of people who might be listening to this, they have pet businesses that aren't necessarily based in the US.
Yeah, absolutely. During that sign up process, it's really important to start registering all of your trademarks with Amazon if you have them. So if you have a USPTO trademark, filing for brand registry is a great next step. Just go ahead and do it the second you're approved for your Seller Central so that everything is tied together really well. Brand registry has gone through a number of iterations over the years, and there are we've run across some issues where customers, sellers who've had storefronts for a long time and have gone through several iterations of brand registry, Amazon's system is not tying them together as well as they should. So if you can go ahead and register for brand registry right when you register for your seller account, it will help solidify that connection with the two. Make sure you use the same email address that you sign up for your Seller Central account. And then you can get all of the benefits of brand registry, which we could talk about for hours probably.
Can you talk about it for about 30 seconds? Just give kind of a quick hit of, what is the reason and benefit of doing the brand registry?
Yeah. So brand registry is designed to help brand owners control their listings on Amazon. That was really the big reason. So without going into too much detail, when you create a product listing on Amazon, if there is no brand registered seller, the product listing is a amalgamation of all the contributions of anyone selling that product. So you can end up with some product listings that have, conflicting information and they look a little funky because 5 different people made them. So being the brand registered seller allows you full control of that listing. It's your title, it's your bullet points, your images, your description that show on that product page. And that was kind of the initial idea. Brands and manufacturers loved it so much, used it so much that Amazon, started adding and adding and adding to it. So now you get great benefits like improved product listings through A+ content and brand story. You have a whole new advertising segment that's open to you called sponsored brands, where you can do different targeting and different placements from non-brand owners. You have access to things like transparency to reduce fraud. The benefits are really, really wide and deep. And, we should probably write 3 or 4 blogs on it.
Yeah, this really sounds to me like kind of the secret sauce behind, being on Amazon as a small business or brand and not, feeling like you're cheapening your brand and making sure you still have full control over your brand story.
Oh, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head there. Like brand registry is a must for anyone who has a USPTO trademark. I cannot emphasize enough that if you are selling on Amazon and you have a trademark and you're leaving all of the brand registry benefits on the table, how much you are missing out on.
So take away from that, definitely do it.
Do it. Yes. Yes. And go get your trademark. I mean, if you want to sell on Amazon and you don't have a trademark right now, we've been through the trademark process a couple of times for our business, for customers, and it is worth the cost of getting all your information together, paying a legal team to file, making sure you're in good standing. I mean, I really believe in the brand registry program and the benefits that it provides.
And getting that trademark outside of Amazon and within it, it really helps you kind of stop those copycats as well, who are gonna, maybe buy your product and then turn around and resell it or try to sell something that's similar to your product.
Absolutely. Yeah. Big benefits on and off for sure.
Awesome. So once everything is set up, if I'm trying to do this myself, how do I actually know how to do it? Is there any resources that we have available that we, don't have to kind of go in blind with this?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Amazon's been around for a while. They know that it's to their advantage for more sellers to be signing up and for them to do it right. So they created this program called Seller University. Once you're in Seller Central, you can access that under the Help tab on Amazon. It is a really thorough, multi-hour, multi-segment review video course, basically teaching you how to sell on Amazon, how to set up your listings, how to fill out your company information correctly, how to create shipping templates, how to ship your products to FBA. I mean, it's very, very thorough A to Z course on how to get going. Of course, we're going to suggest work with an agency that can help you optimize all those things, but it is really a great, one-on-one on how to get going, how to get started, and how to move in the right direction from the very beginning.
Awesome. So I am definitely a proponent of that because I am that person who, if I want to do anything new, I have to spend like 4 days binging YouTube to just even begin to try. So
Me
the fact
too.
that they've got that there is really, really good to know.
Me too. I am absolutely a graduate of YouTube University. Love learning, especially love learning from like great interactive video series. I'm a very visual learner. So it helps for me to be able to kind of sit down and watch a video and follow along. And Seller University is great for that. It's really good at kind of getting you going. And like I said, it's not the end all be all. It's a 101 course, right? But it will get you going and get you started. Get you starting to ask the right questions of, should I be doing this or should I be doing that? And what is truly the best way to optimize, right? So it'll get you started. And then there's, layers to add on after that.
Absolutely awesome. So circling back, now that we know how to get on Amazon, talking more about why to get on Amazon, specifically like the broad reach and the visibility that you can get from Amazon, especially as a brand new pet business. and why it's worth it to get on there if you have like your own e-commerce website, and why, should you do one or the other? Should you do both?
Yeah, another great question, a very big question, and I hope I can answer it in segments. So first, why? Let me give you some numbers. So we've already talked about the 2 to 4.5 billion visits per month. Again, you cannot beat that in terms of total aggregate users. But if you dive in a little bit closer to that, a little bit more on that, you'll see that 38% of all online sales in the US come from Amazon. So if you want to sell your product, right? If you're not just going for discovery and education, if you want to sell something, 38%, that's more than a third of all sales that happen on the internet happen on Amazon. 51% of online consumers start their search on Amazon. So if you're not there, they're just never going to see you. So that's really, really important to be there just for that brand awareness, that brand recognition. There's 167 million Prime users in the US. I think that's over half of the US population is now a Prime user, which is crazy. We talked about, how important it is, like Prime search and Prime eligibility, and people utilize that, that benefit very heavily. Prime Video, Prime shipping, free returns. Those are all really important tenets of Amazon and things that all of those Prime users are using on a monthly basis. And on average, they're spending over $90 a month on Amazon every month doing it. So, it's just a very important place to be. The why is that's where your customers are. That's where everyone's customers are. And even if you don't want to make the majority of your sales through the platform, you need to be there for the exposure, for the recognition, and for the brand credibility. It's really important to be there on Amazon. And speaking of credibility, American consumers regularly rank Amazon their most trusted brand. So especially if you're a new brand getting started out, you're asking a lot of customers to come to your website when they've never heard of your brand before today, and trust that the credit card information that they put into your website that they've never been to before is going to be well protected, that when you charge it, they're going to get the product that you promised that you'd send to them, and it's not going to be damaged, and that if they don't like it, that there's a way for them to return it or get their money back. And they know that all those things are true on Amazon. So even if your website is a great lead magnet and it gets people moving towards your brand, having Amazon as a potential conversion avenue helps resolve a lot of those concerns that happen at the very bottom of the funnel, that especially new brands face as they're launching their websites. So we absolutely advocate having an omni-channel, multi-channel approach, but Amazon has to be part of that.
So if Amazon is part of it, and we're talking about omni-channel, I like that you mentioned that. How does that work into other brands? I think I'm kind of skipping around on our predetermined outline here, but
No.
if I'm on Amazon, but I'm also have my own e-commerce website, and I'm also on social media, how does that all work together to, like, is there a way for it to really all kind of fit without Amazon feeling like it's this weird, like, side thing poking out of my brand?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I think it's really important for brand credibility and brand awareness to be on Amazon, but we always advocate an omni, all channel approach. And we want customers to access your brand in multiple ways, depending on their preference. So we think it's really important to, sit down with each brand, because every brand is different. What is your customer journey look like? Where do people find you? Where do they want to shop? How do they stay in touch with you and engaged? How do they give feedback on your brand? How can they become advocates? All those things are really important. And Amazon is not the end all be all, right? So Amazon is not a place where you can heavily interact with your customers. So it can be a great conversion channel, but you need to be on social media in order to have that engagement and interaction, to hear back from your customers, to create real and authentic conversations. Amazon's also not the perfect place for you to control the transaction. So you're not going to build your email list through Amazon. So being able to, convert customers through your own website can, really solidify your brand and your remarketing abilities by, collecting those email addresses and having an email marketing plan. So it's got to be everything. If you really want your brand to succeed and grow and engage your customers, in that really meaningful and authentic way. And, we fully support our brands and customers utilizing, other agencies to help cover those gaps. So Amazon is its own beast. It's huge. You got to be there. It's very important for that exposure, but there's a whole other world of stuff that has to happen for your brand to be successful. And, we have partners that we work with, and we have other agencies that we'll refer to that we, kind of create this super team to help, our customers be everywhere that they need to be and complete, all of those different customer journeys, sales journeys, as effectively as they can.
Yeah, and I think part of that, referral network for both of us is Pet Industry Network, which if someone who's listening has not been to petindustry.network.com, you should go check it out. If you want literally any B2B support for your business, almost everything is covered there. And if there's something that you want that's missing, reach out, because the team at Pin is so great at, listening to feedback. And let's say, I know right now we don't have like an accountant on the list, right? So they are really good about looking and trying to find those really important vetted pet businesses, not just any. So like, it's really important to know that like they are in the industry, they focus specifically on pet businesses, and they've vetted these people who are, on that list. And we're just, you and me and the other 14 or so of us, we're just this great little group of people who want to be able to support our customers as much as possible.
Absolutely. And we love our pen friends. Like most of our brands are using some other pen service provider. And like you said, it's really great. They're pre-vetted, but we've started to build, rapport, and we know, hey, this is what we can expect, and this is the deliverables. We know who to tap in. So, we're starting to kind of build that resume together as a team, a pen team, where we can really bring all aspects of the marketing needs to our customers.
Absolutely. And so it's just so important. I am on the team for social media, but I am all about, you need a full marketing ecosystem. You cannot just rely on only social media or only email marketing or, only, inventory management. It's not even just marketing. There's a lot of things there that, you can get support from and build, like you said, a super team.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty here of addressing
Sure.
kind of the stigma that a lot of brands have about. I've had my own clients multiple times in the past few months ask me, I've been thinking about being on Amazon, but there's I don't know if I'll have control of my brand, and I don't know if that will frankly piss off my retailers, and how can I
Sure.
still support them in a way that doesn't where Amazon is not taking their sales away.
Yeah. Totally get it. We've been helping customers navigate this same concern for a decade now. So I think I mentioned previously that, our Amazon agency was born out of a full service agency, and, our customers have, wholesale relationships they want to protect, retailers they want to protect, brick and mortars that are saying online sales are terrible. So I think there's always going to be some concern when you sell your product to someone else and then they see you selling it. And so it's important to have a strategy for how we're going to level that playing field for everyone, what everyone's role is going to be in the customer journeys that we just talked about, who's your customer and who's, the customer for the website, who's the customer for the Amazon. We want to make sure we define all those things really carefully. And then we want to educate. We want to have the conversations over and over again. We want to get good feedback from our retail partners, because we might not get it right on the first try. We want to make sure that everything is working together, that the in-store is supplemented by the reviews, the ratings, and the user-generated content that people see on Amazon, and that the website is converting maybe price shopping customers so that we can control the transaction and get emails. And, there's just we want to design a strategy where it all works together, and we totally understand those concerns. So some of the things that we do to help alleviate that stigma, or maybe reduce some of that pressure between each one of those sales channels. Number one, it starts with price control. So Amazon has a terrible reputation of being the low price option. They feed into this with their low price guarantee. So, we always tell brands like price needs to be something that you're constantly talking about, whether it's generating a MAP policy, a minimum advertised price policy, to keep that playing field level and making sure that everyone is playing by it. Generally, it's selling it yourself on Amazon, because like we talked about with that first P relationship, you give up some of that price control when you're no longer the owner of that product. So generally it's do it yourself on Amazon. It's have an agreement with everyone in the channel that we're going to sell at this price, and make sure that, everyone's abiding by that. And we help customers, like Amazon has some internal features to help you with price monitoring. So if someone is below, if you're listing at MAP and someone is listing below MAP offline, you're going to get notifications from Amazon because of their fair pricing policy. So, it's a great way to help you monitor and make sure that everyone's in line. And then the second big thing is that cheapening of the brand because of the way the product listings look. And it's true, on Amazon, it is going to be difficult to provide customers with a branded experience the way that you would on, say, your social media or on your website. The search results page is always going to look like the search results page. It's going to be white with other product pictures with other brands right there beside your product. But utilizing things like brand registry, we can weave in some of those brand elements, and we can improve those product listings so that there is some uniformity and there is some brand voice that comes through in your product listings that you might be missing out on Amazon otherwise. So, we talked about A+ content, big visual interactive product listing pages, brand story, a big carousel of images, video, and text that talk about your brand selling points. There's headline search. So on the top of that search results page, you get to, display your brand colors, your brand image, some of your brand's products. There's brand storefront so that customers can click through and only shop products from your brand. So there are certainly ways to kind of alleviate some of that bad brand experience, and ways to, keep everyone on the same playing field and make sure that we're all working on the same team to, find new customers, convert new customers, and everyone's enjoying good profit margins.
Yeah, and if you do have retailers and brick and mortar stores, I think that's kind of the biggest concern, is supporting them, making sure that they, aren't getting undercut. If, like you said, those price controls, if I'm in a store, one of the big nightmares for, brick and mortar retailers is people come into their store, they look at the product, they pull out their phone, and then they buy it on Amazon.
Yeah, I
And
love that you brought this up, and sorry I'm interrupting here, but I had two people come up to me at Global and basically have this exact same concern, but and even stated in the same way. Like, people come into my store and then they see it on the shelf and they pull up their phone and they go find it on Amazon. And we're not going to change consumer behavior, right? They're gonna do that. So what needs to happen is that we need to have the infrastructure set up to make sure that the customer that walked into that retail store, right, that brick and mortar store, the brick and mortar did all of the marketing to get the customer in. They, pay for the storefront, they bought the product. Ideally, that customer is that brick and mortar's customer, not the Amazon customer. So what we want to do from a total omni-channel infrastructure is make sure that the customer walks out with the product from the brick and mortar and not from Amazon. Again, it starts with price. So if I'm that customer and I pull up the Amazon listing and it's the same price that I'm looking at right there in the brick and mortar store, I don't have a big incentive to order it from Amazon, right? I can see the product, I can touch it, I can see it's in good condition. I know exactly what it's going to look like in my house. I know how big it is, how soft it is. Those are things that you can't really communicate to customers on traditional e-commerce. So the brick and mortar has a pretty big advantage there for the customer standing in front of them, if we're priced appropriately on the same level playing field. And I also want them to pull up that Amazon listing and see hundreds, if not thousands, of positive ratings and reviews and user-generated content that says this product solved my problem here, and this product lasted, a year or 2 years or however long it was supposed to last, just as promised. And this product, my dog loved it. So if we can help solidify the customer's desire to buy the product when he's standing right there in the brick and mortar by the ratings, reviews, the social proof that we have on Amazon, and the price is the same, and they're not going to get it until 2 or 3 days later if they buy it from Amazon, the customer has every reason to buy it right there in the store. And that's what we want to happen, right? That customer journey started in the brick and mortar, and we want it to end there. If it had started on Amazon, we might want it to end on Amazon. So, just making sure that we have really well-defined customer journeys, we're all on the same playing field, and that we're providing support to each one of those sales channels to make sure that their customers walk out with our products each time is the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's even the opportunity, like you said, if it starts on Amazon, there may be some people who looked at it, put it in their cart, thought about buying it, didn't buy it, went to a store to get dog food, and then saw it there and bought it at the store because they don't have to wait on shipping.
Absolutely right. So like that brand recognition, the brand awareness, the remarketing, it's, Amazon and Google can give you great brand exposure, but e-commerce will never replace the experience of going and touching the product and picking it up and, feeling it, moving it around. Like you can't replicate that online. So, being able to provide that exposure that hopefully drives people to buy it in store when they see it again is huge.
Yeah, the example I like to use for this is, as a woman, clothing is a pain in the butt to order
Oh,
online.
yes.
I hate buying clothes if I can't try them on. So that's one of those things. There's, being able to touch it, being able to, let your dog sniff it, being able, if it is a
Mhm.
wearable, to see if it fits them, are all things that, as a brick and mortar, they still have the advantage there.
Yeah, absolutely. And if a customer comes into the brick and mortar, we want them to experience that, but to have the brand awareness to go, oh, I saw that product online. Like maybe I should go see it and touch it and feel it, So that awareness just, triggers more, discovery, more explanation, exploration of the brand.
So, all right, you've sold me. I want to be on Amazon. I believe I can set it up in a way where it is supporting my retailers and not, undercutting them or hurting them in any way. How do I actually rank so that people see my stuff?
Yeah, great question, because the biggest problem that new brands are going to face is getting any exposure. Um, just to make an analogy here, Amazon uses a search rank algorithm that is similar to Google, but differs in one very important way. So on Google, um, the search results are determined by two factors: the search relevancy and the authority. So search relevancy means, like, if I type dog cave beds into search, it's not going to return dog car seats and dog bandanas or anything like that, right? So the search that I actually make needs to be relevant to the pages that Google shows me in the search results page, and they determine that by looking at what you searched for and crawling every page that they can on the internet and saying, how often does this keyword show up? What's the density of this keyword? How many people linked to this page using the similar keyword as anchor text? So it's all about the words and the content on the page when it comes to relevancy. And then the second factor is authority. So Google determines authority by how many people have linked to a certain page and how authoritative their pages are. It's kind of a way of crowdsourcing importance or clout. And I use this Google example because I truly think Amazon copied them, and they are using the same search relevance idea, right? So how often is the keyword showing up? Is it in alt text? Is it on the page? But the way they determine authority, rather than using link structure, is by using sales history, because that's what they care about. They want to make sales because that's when they get referral fees and how they profit. So that sales history factor for them is about conversion rate and sales velocity. And sales velocity is just the speed at which your products sell. So how many did you sell last month? How many did you sell 60 days ago? How many did you sell in the last 7 days? Those are the things that Amazon really cares about. So it's two factors. You need to have the discoverability. So your product listings need to have keywords that your customers are looking for. They need to be good volume keywords with low difficulty, especially if you're just starting out, so that you don't get outranked by more established products. You need to weave those into the key product features, the titles, the descriptions, the A+ content, so they're there on the product page. And then you need to maximize that sales history as much as you can, which boils down to conversion rate. So how can you make sure that you've answered all the questions that customers could have about your product? Maximize every opportunity that you can to tell them why this is the product that they should purchase for their need. And then you should advertise. And I don't say that just because we help customers manage advertising, but if you have no historical sales, you really have no chance at ranking organically. So you need some advertising to help kick off your sales history, which can create organic sales. And then we kind of liken this to the snowball effect, where you sell more stuff, which means you rank higher, which means more people see you, which means you sell more stuff, which means you rank higher, which means, and that flywheel just kind of gets going, and that's how you scale.
So would you say people really need to be running ads all the time on Amazon, or is this really, when you're first starting out, kind of the push to get the ball rolling?
I think you have to do it starting out, and we would suggest that you're probably always trying to find new customers via advertising. So, not a requirement to always be running advertising, but we run into very few brands that couldn't benefit from having new to brand customers. And on Amazon, we can measure that with our advertising, right? So we know we're not just going out and getting customers who searched for our brand or customers who have purchased from our brand before. So we measure that, and we make sure that our advertising is targeting those new customers, that new customer acquisition that continues to grow and build the brand.
And then what else beyond like the sales itself, to get more people, to get that flywheel going? Like, the other thing that helps a lot with increasing the sales is the actual reviews, right?
Yeah, so reviews and ratings are huge. A lot of I don't want to say like gurus, but people who will tell you that they have Amazon figured out and they know how to do it, will offer these complicated review strategies, and even like services for how to get more reviews. And Amazon's terms of services are very clear about review manipulation. Your product listing can be removed, the reviews can be removed, and ultimately your seller central account can be deactivated if you are, practicing any sort of nefarious review activity. So we view reviews as a byproduct of good sales and marketing. If you are making a lot of sales and you're actively asking for reviews of the orders, you can expect that your ratings and reviews will grow over time. That typical rate is about 10%. So 10% of people who order a product from you will leave a rating or a review. You can increase that by manually asking for a review or using some software that asks for a review, but you need to make sure that anything you're doing revolving around reviews is strictly approved within Amazon's terms of services, because they do not mess around with review manipulation.
So when you say review manipulation, this is a part of it that's really interesting to me, because as someone on social media, I have a lot of people who get asked, or who as a brand want to, if I give somebody a free gift in return for them reviewing it, is that allowed?
No, you cannot do product in exchange for review. You cannot explicitly ask for a 5-star review. You cannot pay for reviews. So they need to be true orders. I mean, we've even worked with new brands who called their brothers, their sisters, their parents, and they said, "Hey, go buy my product on Amazon and leave a review." And Amazon, one way or another, connected the dots and said, "No, like that's the dad of the owner of the brand, like, we're going to remove that review because we can't trust it as an honest and authentic review. So, in general, best practice, always ask for a review on Amazon. Within Amazon's manage orders tabs, you'll see shipped orders, and there'll be a button that says request a review. That is what you are allowed to do realistically. There are services that can automate clicking that button for you, and there are services that can slightly adjust the email or notification that's sent out to do that. But truthfully, you don't want to do much more than that, or else you're kind of playing in the gray area of what is and is not allowed. And then if you're working with, influencer marketers, which we love to do, and we certainly suggest new brands do, you're welcome to ask them for a review, but you part of the engagement of working with them cannot be for them to leave a review. It cannot be for them to leave a 5-star review. So, our best practice there is just having an honest conversation with them, right? So what we want is a video, or what we want is 3 Instagram posts. And we're willing to pay this. So contract them for that. And then after they receive the product, or if they order it off of Amazon, just ask some questions. Say, how do you like the product? Is it going really well? Do you have any feedback for us? And then hopefully they say, no, we love it. It's amazing. And, we would suggest saying something like, Amazon customers might benefit from your honest review, if you had the time to leave it on the product listings page. And that's about as far as you can go. You don't want to ask too explicitly for them to leave a review. You don't want to ask too explicitly for them to leave a good review, especially. So, and that's how you should be treating every customer, right? If you could, create a personalized message for website orders, say, how's it going? Like, give us some feedback. Those kinds of conversations are super beneficial. They can help you develop better products, or better shipping, or better policies internally. So you should always be asking those questions. And then when the opportunity presents itself to try and get a review, then you can kind of like push that button.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those who are listening, if you're an influencer or you work with influencers, if you get a message that says, I want to send you this free product and all you have to do is leave a review on Amazon, don't do that because that is against terms of service. And as a brand that's tempting, don't do that. And then there's
Yeah,
also
absolutely.
another interesting strategy I've seen people do lately, which I'm guessing is definitely not allowed, is actually running a giveaway, but the way that you enter is to leave an Amazon review.
Yeah, I would definitely think that's in the gray hat area. I am certain. Let me be very clear. Like, I am not always on team Amazon, right? Like, we don't necessarily play by Amazon's rules because we agree with them, but because the consequences can be very harsh, right? So from where we sit as the manager of our customers' Amazon platforms, we don't want to put ourselves in any sort of compromising situation. But if it's your brand and you need to get started, you can take more risks than our agency might suggest. And the same thing with if you're working with another agency that what they do is reviews, they might have better clarification on where they feel comfortable towing the line versus where we are. But we view reviews as a natural part of the sales process, and not every sale is going to leave a review. And so the best way to grow your reviews and make sure you get great reviews and ratings is have a really good product and sell a bunch of them, because then you're going to get those naturally occurring reviews.
Great advice. So I'm getting sales, I'm getting reviews, I'm getting some data from Amazon. What is the way that I can use? Are there any ways I can use that data outside of Amazon to inform my overall business decisions, or inside of Amazon to improve my listings? How should I look at that?
Yeah, Amazon is chock full of data for sure. What's available to some sellers might be determined by their size or by their brand registry status. But for brands that are brand registry activated and have their brand products going for sales, there are some really great insights under the brands tab in Seller Central. Things like Market Basket, which tells you what products are being bought alongside your products. They might be competitor products. They might be a different size of your product or a different color of your product. And that information is really useful to help you understand, what's customer behavior looking like. That might be something you want to incorporate on your website. If, people are buying bundles, like they're buying a bandana, and a scarf that share the same pattern, or, things like that, could be, or a dog bed and a dog car seat that are the same color or whatever, so you might use some of that information to help you understand bundling, or which promotions make sense. There's also information about the search term that customers use to get to your product listing, and how often your search term or your product is the one they clicked on when they made that search. So that can be really illuminating in terms of where your brand and your products sit in the marketplace. What's your market share? Who are your main competitors? Those are definitely things that we kind of look at to help educate decisions on and off Amazon. And then there's a whole host of software tools that layer on more information. So things like Helium 10 or Jungle Scout, those are software platforms that plug into Amazon. They utilize your data and all of Amazon's backend data to help you make some really important decisions around like keywords and product research, things like that. You can do rank tracking. So where am I ranking versus my competitors or on certain search terms? There's a ton of data, and we could probably talk about it for hours.
Yeah, we could definitely do an entire like in-depth course on Amazon for sure.
For sure.
But that data, yeah, it helps you. The keywords sounds like it would help with improving the SEO on your website as well. And then, using that to determine what is your best sellers. If you have a bunch of different products, you can see like these are the ones that maybe I want to put forefront in my marketing because they're the best sellers. You can even see like if you're changing prices to test things, if which price is performing better to
Yeah,
actually give you the most
absolutely.
profit.
Absolutely. And, Amazon tries their best to facilitate that because they want you to sell more stuff. So, you might have information, you can find information on your conversion rate by search term. So do I want to change my target keywords on my website because I know that they convert really well when people find me via those terms on Amazon? Or yeah, you hit the nail on the head with pricing. You can do A/B testing for all sorts of things on Amazon, whether it's your titles, your bullet points, your images. All those things can help educate customer preference for your products.
So what do you think as our resident Amazon expert, moving forward the rest of 2024 and into 2025, what are your predictions or what are the emerging trends that you see with Amazon for pet businesses?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about kind of the COVID influx of sellers and products. And one thing that we've seen happening over the past couple of years that I anticipate to Amazon to continue to lean into is making more of a push to work with the brands and manufacturers of products rather than retailers and resellers. So back in the old days, the more products you had to sell on Amazon, the more Amazon loved you. Just bring us more products, make our database bigger. There were the tools for brands weren't yet enabled. So contributions from these retailers and resellers were outranking the brand owners, and the brand owners really didn't have a way to control their listings or control the way that their products were presented on Amazon. And I think that really played into the perception that it's a bargain website, that it's a place to go for the low pricing, not necessarily the best experience. And they're working really hard to try and resolve that now. So in the wake of all of those new sellers and poor products coming from overseas and fraudulent products and fraudulent sellers, they've cracked down on the sign up process, but they've also given us more tools as brand owners. So I think that trend's going to continue. I think they're going to continue to give benefits to products that are sold by the brand who are listing the product. They're going to continue to give benefits to brand owners in terms of advertising and listings optimization. We already saw this year that they rolled out search indexable premium A+ content and brand story, which are not available to non-branded products. So I expect that trend to continue, where if you sell your own products, Amazon's going to give you more and more advantages over resellers of someone else's product. They just feel more comfortable with their customers buying it straight from the brand or manufacturer than they do from someone else, which makes sense. We've also seen more competition in pet, and I think this is I should have pulled the exact data here, but I know that pet supplies had the lowest return on ad spend of any category last year, according to Jungle Scout's 2023 report. And I think that's largely due to the increase in competition that we saw during COVID and in this post-COVID era. I expect competition to continue to increase and to get harder and harder to stand out among that crowd. So making sure that you are covering all of the bases of listings optimization, conversion rate optimization, advertising, making sure that you're focusing on the right keywords, you have great video and image assets, and you have good social proof are all imperative for brands in pet, because it's only getting harder out there. And I think those are probably the two biggest and most relevant trends that we're going to see on Amazon in our category.
Okay, yeah, that's really really insightful and important to point out, is that, things are getting more competitive. So it's even more important to, if you're gonna be on Amazon, do it right and know that whether that's doing your research or hiring someone like you to, kind of come in and make sure that everything is set up correctly and that you're playing the game by the book, so that you're going to get the best results that you can.
Absolutely.
So, approaching the end of the episode here, we have made it a really long one, and it's got lots of nice and juicy information about how to navigate that Amazon jungle. If somebody has skipped to the end for whatever reason, and this is the only soundbite that they listen to, what are the key takeaways that you think are the most important for pet businesses?
Yeah, most important, if you have a trademark, go on Amazon and register your brand. So you need to sign up for a Seller Central account, and then go to brandregistry.amazon.com and register your trademark. Even if you never intend to sell on Amazon, I would suggest you go do that right now. And that's going to prevent other people from creating product listings under your brand. It's going to give you a level of control over your products that you just would not have, even if you don't want to be the one selling on Amazon. Lock it down, make sure that you are the owner of your products before someone else can create a product listing that you don't like, that looks bad, and that you ultimately have to go in and fix at some point in the future. So number one, go leverage brand registry if you can. And then number two, I would encourage people to go in, create a Seller Central account, and then dig into Seller University and educate yourself. Just learn. Again, if you don't want to list your products, at least understand how the marketplace works, and how, if you want a trusted seller to be your representative on Amazon, how the challenges they're going to face and how they should work with you and how you should support them and provide them with the assets that they need. Educate yourself on the options in terms of fulfillment, because, even if you don't want to ship ones and twos, there's options for you to grow your brand and your exposure by being on Amazon without having to take on that logistical nightmare. You utilize this great tool in Seller University that Amazon has created to just educate yourself, to learn more, figure out where you want to fit into this space. And then you can make an educated decision from there. And then, obviously, speaking of educated decisions, you can reach out to us. So, we're putting up, content and resources on the AmazonMarketingAgency.com. You can reach out to us via our contact form there to learn more. And if you're already selling on Amazon, we take applications every month to do a free brand evaluation, which is a huge report that we provide. It's usually at least 30 pages, but it will tell you, where does your brand sit on Amazon? Are you doing all of the things you can be doing to profit maximize? Are your listings as optimized as they can be? Where can you do a better job growing your advertising and improving your efficiency? And it's a very thorough report. So if you're already on Amazon, I would encourage you to submit an application. We do 1 or 2 a month because it is such a big report and a big value that we provide, but it takes lots of time on our end to make sure that we do a good job and we really provide lots of value in that report. So if you're already selling on Amazon, definitely encourage you to go submit an application to get your brand evaluated.
Awesome. So that is at the AmazonMarketingAgency.com. Was that the website?
You got it. You got
Awesome.
it.
And
The
where else?
AmazonMarketingAgency.com.
All right. And where else online can people find you? Are there any social channels, places like that they can reach out to you?
Yeah, so we're pretty active on LinkedIn. So me, Stephen Gary, STEPHEN Gary, GARY. You can find my wife, Erin, ERIN Gary as well. We have a business profile there. Also, it's acceleration, ACCELERAZON. I know that's tough and a big ask to get people to spell that. But you can find us there on LinkedIn. We try to be very involved, answer questions as people ask them, repost useful content that we come across on LinkedIn, especially from our pen member friends. We repost a lot of that stuff and comment. And so it's a good place to kind of follow along with where our head's at. We are on Instagram, but it's not a focus channel of ours. But if you want to connect with us there, ask questions, just message us. We do take direct messages on Instagram as well.
Awesome. And then anyone who wants to just get the direct links to that, you can find those in the show notes, as always. So, Stephen, thank you so much for joining us today. I am really excited. This is a big marathon of juicy content. So if you are listening or watching and you have made it all the way to the end here, then great job. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Skarlet. I really appreciate it.
What was your favorite thing about this episode? Hit me up on Instagram at Skarlet Rockwood to tell me about it or ask any questions that you have about marketing your own pet business. If you know other pet professionals who would love this podcast, go ahead and screenshot this episode and share it to your Instagram stories. Be sure to tag me when you do, because seeing who's listening and hearing your feedback is 100% what motivates me to keep doing what I do. You can also join the Facebook group to connect with other pet industry professionals like you. If you'd like to follow up on any of the resources or links mentioned in this episode, you can find them in the show notes. Don't forget to be awesome, and I'll see you in the next episode.